Hi, Bridget. I'm so happy you can join me today. I wanted to give some more information to my financial friends and those representatives who might be looking for something to get their name out there on how to make the best use of the internet for marketing purposes and how people can find more investors and the right kind of matches out there in the universe of the internet world. So, thank you for joining me. I understand you do service as a software or software as a service for us people in the financial services industry. And I really wanted you to talk to me about what that actually means when people see that phrase and how you help them build their business with this service.
So yeah, thanks for having me, of course. Software as a service, if you think about let's go back to when we first got computers and there were big giant, well, when we first got computers, right?
Right.
We had 5.25 inch floppy disks or 5.5, and then the 3.25, and then you had a CD-ROM. So you were buying Windows on a CD, on a piece of hardware, right? You had to install it onto your machine. So how I think of software as a service, SaaS, as opposed to traditional software, is it doesn't come on a piece of physical equipment anymore. It's a
Mhm.
subscription. So software as a service is basically a subscription. Netflix is a subscription, right?
Mhm.
Office 360 is a subscription. Any social media scheduling tools, YouTube is, it just happens to be free. There's
Mhm.
different tiers, X is free, but anything that lives kind of in the cloud, which are basically giant warehouses of computers, soon to
Mhm.
be in space, that's software as a service. And AI is no different. AI is
Mhm.
going to also be it is software as a service. If I want to talk to ChatGPT or Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, then it's still software that I'm paying for. The software is doing something for me, answering my question, building me a website, all those kinds of things. My angle is I help those companies with their branding, which is like basically visibility, trust, and education. And
Mhm.
those are three things that financial services professionals also need because you're entering into the what Google calls YMYL, your money, your life.
Mhm.
So those are authoritative positions that are, you know, regulated. There's many layers of compliance. And so there's got to be some great tools to help with the compliance part and interpreting it and people as yourself. But also when it comes to like getting your name out there, that's just going to be the social media, which is software as a service.
Yeah.
I know it's
So
boring.
no, it's not.
It's
It's very
just
fascinating.
social media.
As an example, or I love this idea, and I know compliance professionals use lots of resources in helping them continue to get their name out there and build their business. We do have a software that we use to help us monitor the web updates and postings for compliance and make sure that they are compliant with some of our advertising rules. How would that software play into what you do as a service for us? Because I imagine you would basically be a package or some type of add-in and people just can't rely on one or the other. You guys would be working in tandem somehow.
Right. So if you had access to that software or the rules, conceivably you could reverse engineer it, right? So instead of looking for what's wrong or not in compliance, you could be creating posts that pass so that you're pre-screened, as it were, right? So you
Mhm.
could build a content library of things that Like mortgage brokers, they can't promise you a rate. They can say, right now with the new Fed chairman, it may or may not go down based upon these factors once we plug it in, but we're not promising you anything. Even in construction, when I started, we had to put our California license
Nice.
on everything, Twitter handle, business cards. That's
Mhm.
true with real estate, mortgage professionals, those kinds of credentialing, like just including that in your bios on your social feeds, like
Mhm.
looking at through the lens of reverse engineering. How can I stay compliant? I can stay compliant by understanding the rules, understanding FINRA, understanding the guidelines, and then staying within those boundaries, which is basically not over-promising if,
Yeah.
and giving you disclosures, right?
Mhm.
So this is what I would think would be like kind of the sweet spot, not being a FINRA expert myself, but that's where I would think like you want to produce a library of posts that you can reuse, that you can pull from source data, so that the person you hire to manage your social media presence, grow your articles on LinkedIn, already has that source material that's
Mhm.
pre-approved. That's the gold right there. Pre-approved source material that still makes you distinctive from somebody else.
So, how would that differ from articles that we could pre-purchase, like with a publishing company that says, "Oh, I'm going to spit out a whole bunch of financial professional articles," versus um, the SaaS mindset?
Well, so the only difference between that is that the articles you're buying them, but they still have to be put somewhere, right?
Yeah.
The SaaS the component it would be published, it would be scheduled, it'd be in there. So,
Hmm.
and then also, so do you remember RSS feeds? We were reading the web back then, and like, oh, we really like Seth Meyers. Or Seth Godin, or, Andrew Ross Sorkin. I'm gonna read all his stuff, right?
Right.
So what we're doing is we're kind of like doing the same thing, but we're curating, right? So what makes us different, whether we're marketers or mortgage brokers or financial advisors, is our empathy, our connection to other people,
Hmm.
having that trust, that reputation, that long-standing reputation, right? And
Hmm.
so being that expert, you can be an expert in private, but people aren't really going to receive your DMs in the same way, right?
Right.
Like you could just sit there and hire somebody to DM everybody in your area. Hey, I'm a wealth services advisor for Edward Jones. I just got this a couple days ago. We're in the same city. I thought we should connect.
Uh,
And I'm like, dude, I do not meet your quota. I am in the wrong tax bracket for you, right? But if you had a nerd who could actually go through their pre-qualified people, you would be selling them something. Ideally, this is what I would think. You would be selling them some kind of paper, planning, a wealth planning guide, looking forward to the future, something ideally for Gen Alpha and Z, because millennials are already doing their thing. I mean, they're like 42, 44 years old. They need to
mhm.
be thinking about this. The Gen Xers, we're already still going to work until we're 72. We're toast. Okay. Like if you haven't figured it out by the time you're 53, like me, you're going to be at TJ Maxx until you're 80. That's fine. But like targeting what's going to be easy for them. What's going to be easy
Mhm.
for them is an app. Look at Rocket Mortgage. Look at Chime. Look at the way these FinTech apps, which
Mhm.
are software as a service, are helping
Oh,
people build their credit scores. In Cash App, I can buy stock all day long. I can buy it and sell it, buy it and sell it. They go through Apex clearing. So like Robinhood just
Mhm.
announced on CNBC yesterday that they're going to allow agentic purchasing of stocks. Now, I don't know about this or how compliant it is, or
Uh-huh.
if they're just putting all the blame on the actual consumer, just like they're not going through a broker dealer, they're just
Right.
going through their Robinhood app. But still, once you start layering in AI and it's learning, who is teaching it, right? If you're
Yeah.
making your own decision, I'm reading this book, that book, watching CNBC and Jim Cramer's Money Club as an individual, whatever, that's fine. It's on me. But now that you add this layer of AI as a software as a service, and those agents are going to make those decisions for you,
Hmm.
right? So as a broker, as a financial services provider, I would be distinguishing myself from random robots that are going to spend your money without you knowing about it, you
Yeah.
know, or like verifying it, right? You have to
Yeah.
set all the rules or whatever, just like you would anyway. But I think it's so next level. I feel like there's PCI compliance issues,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. So if I were a financial services provider right now, I'd be
Uh-huh.
talking about how you want to trust a person who knows you, who asks you about your personal goals. Where do you want to be in 10 years, 20, 30? How long do you want to work? Do you want to work in this job or do you want to work later? Explaining how Social Security works and how it takes like the last 18 months. So it doesn't matter if you made millions of dollars in your whole life, all of a sudden you're broke, right? So, like, whatever it is, I would be distinguishing that curated knowledge, that
Hmm.
experience you have as a financial advisor from just blindly trusting HAL 9000 to buy stocks for you.
Right. So that's kind of going back to old school HAL 9000. That's
I'm
kind of
sorry,
going
Dave, I can't do that right now. I need to sell that stock, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do
quite
that right now.
uh so just going back to some of those traditional values and the things that we were marketing way back when it was going next door talking to Tom or talking to Diana about our securities and still cultivating that person to person relationship, but being able to do it on a large scale level because we can use technology and somehow making that connection through software or sometimes making that connection through
Well, I think the software is what helps financial professionals save time,
yeah.
right? So just like you have Grammarly for your grammar, right? That's
Hmm.
software as a service. So you're composing your thesis or whatever, something that's like your rant. I always think, what do customers always ask you and it's driving you bananas? Why do they not know this?
Hmm.
Those should fuel like, even if you want to voice type in Google Docs, which is super great for a lot of people, then you can run it, then Gemini can help you clean it up, right?
Right.
But but then you're going to publish that on LinkedIn. You're going to publish that on Medium. You could, not sure what the rules out are about having paid subscribers as a
Mm.
broker dealer, but Beehive, Substack, there's free levels, like those kinds of where you not really have a website, but you have a way to get people to do that. You can also have a membership. So
Hmm.
if they would be, so that's like the modern version of having a membership website. It's just
Yeah.
subscribe to my Substack and you'll get all these tips the same way Jim Cramer does or
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey, right? They're
Right.
calling you, you're kind of it's you're Dr. Ruth, but for finances. So that depends on what your so that's scaling your advice, right?
Right.
But if you want to scale your actual brokerage, your business, then you're going to want to be more efficient in your processes, right?
Hmm.
That's where software as a service, SaaS, that's where that's going to help you out. You can automate email marketing. You can automate calendar scheduling. Yeah, we said we were going to talk next week. I'm going to put it in my calendar to automatically book you. Those kinds of things. Making your administrative professionals that are helping you more efficient, having them be able to do more work so that the
Yeah.
broker can be with their clients, right?
Yeah.
And then, there are some old school things that still work. A friend of mine, we used to go to a bar for trivia. And a lot of times trivia is super late, like 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10. But this was right at 6 o'clock and it fit the schedule and it was put on by a financial services group. And you
Oh.
got to know them. So there was one guy who made the things, the other people kind of mingled around. They had little prizes, of course, and my friend and her son became their clients.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with doing outreach in person, but what I see people making a mistake on, and I mean all people, all businesses,
Yeah.
is forgetting that there is, much like in compliance, there's a vetting process. So I heard about you, but who are you?
Right. Right.
I'm going to look you up. I'm going to Google you. I'm going to look you up on LinkedIn for sure.
Yeah.
If you don't have a public profile on LinkedIn, why would I trust you with my money? Who are you? You could be
Yeah.
people.
Do their research.
Right? I mean, let's just put it in terms everybody can understand. I went on a date the other day, and he was literally relieved I didn't catfish him.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
but we want people to trust us with 500,000, a million, $5 million, basically their ability to not work in their older years, or
Right.
use it to put their kids through college, whatever, right? So, like, we want, if
It
that's
is.
happening in dating,
Right.
for sure, your LinkedIn profile should be public. You should have a banner image. You should fill it out with all your work experience. Like, go.
And
Um,
active, so people know you're still alive, right?
yes,
Ongoing, they're not just
yes.
checking in. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and I know it's tricky because when I was at the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, I had an HR guy
Mhm.
that was super social, and I was like, you should be posting. He's like, there's things I can't post. So that's when it goes back to that content piece we were talking about, having a library of pre-approved material that they can maybe personalize,
Mhm.
or storytelling, hypothetical kind of amalgamations of a person. Like,
Yeah.
let's talk about Rose. She's
Yeah.
23. She just graduated from college. She's going to get her PhD. She's going to be paying that student loan for the next 20 years. How can she
Yeah.
start saving up for her retirement?
Yeah. Yeah.
Things that are more generic, but still something that you can relate to are
Yes.
more than likely going to be compliant because you're not talking about a certain person. You're not, saying, oh, yeah, I know this guy who's on the board of NVIDIA and you
Yeah.
should buy that stock right now.
Uh, yes. And yes, and check with your compliance department, my public service announcement here, and I'm sure there's some pre-approved tools that they might already have, and they will guide you on any type of subscription services that you might be interested in. But this is still not, and you still have to do the work in providing your own content so you can have your own human edge kind of feeling with this. It can't be, everybody can't be the same human. Otherwise, there's no distinction and there's no showing off your originality, your authenticity. You have to find something else that will set you aside. So I believe that we might be falling short with cultivating who we are through these marketing and communication platforms. And everybody's putting in the same thing into their chat boxes and getting out canned information. So maybe you can help us with trying to reflect our true selves so we connect to other people who are like us. That way, that sell is easier because the connection is, you're not trying to force the connection is already there.
Yes, and that comes when you choose a niche.
Hmm.
Not if every customer is your customer, then no one is your customer, right? That's a business axiom, but it's true in financial services. If you want to help the military spouses, then it's going to be those people that I was telling you about with the trivia. It was right near
Right.
the naval base, so it was an easy win, right? They relate to each other because they're military, and
Hmm.
that's their thing. Or they do emergency services too, but like when you pick a niche,
Yeah.
then you are really dialing down on who you are. And the closer that is to who you are, because they were all former military or military spouses,
Yeah.
then it makes it even easier. Like maybe your passion is helping single women over 40 who have been divorced get their life and their retirement back on track,
Yeah.
right? Those are going to be different pieces of advice. It's not the same as, a wife coming into TJ Maxx saying, "Oh, I can't apply for a credit card. My husband's going to kill me like it's 1950 and they can't have a bank account." Like
Right.
it wasn't that long ago that women were not allowed to have a bank account.
Yeah.
My mom was not allowed to have a bank account. My aunt waited to get divorced until the laws changed because she
Wow.
could not, she's 82, she could not have it, let alone, and there's already, or maybe your niche is helping people with their prenups.
Yeah.
Maybe you're partnering with an attorney and
Yes.
and what you're doing is you're helping advise them on the best way to protect their wealth
Right.
while they're dating, in their marriage, that kind of thing, or vice versa, right? How do you get out of this? Like, you know, um, there's so many different ways. Maybe you're only working with musicians or athletes. We always see
Yeah.
all these 30 on 30 on ESPN, and people
Hmm.
just have millions of dollars and then they get injured and then they have nothing. They have nothing. They have no career.
Right.
So if that's your passion, you're working with a sports agent, that's easy, man. That's easy. All you have to do is talk about sports. You don't even have to talk about financial advice. You could talk
That's
about
right.
the Spurs winning uh, over the Oklahoma Thunder yesterday, and it's going to be game 7 tomorrow. You don't even,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, so if it's not even financial advice, but it's talking about your life or your passions, then of course it's going to be compliant because you're talking about yourself.
Right.
And that is
Exactly.
naturally going to attract people.
Yes, I actually was in a meeting the other day and we were talking about LinkedIn posts, and someone told me that they get more likes on a post that has nothing to do with what they do than when they're trying to provide some kind of cute phrase or words to get people interested in their business. And I thought that was so enlightening because the only thing I had truly liked on her post is when she was dressed up in character and with her family. And I'm like, oh, I love this. But then I'm still following her on the screen, and I'm still
Right.
listening. You're right.
Because she brought in the human edge. Why do
Yes.
you think
Yeah.
so many deals are done in cigar lounges and on the golf course?
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
playing
Mhm.
golf. They're naturally saying, "Can I trust you? Can I trust you to keep the golf score?" Because they keep
So
each
true.
other's scores, right?
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
can't trust you to keep the golf score, I'm not trusting you with my portfolio, dude.
Right. Don't
Right?
cheat at golf.
And you
Don't.
don't, right. And you don't have to be, in fact, the PGA, small
Uh-huh.
note, talking about SaaS, just released an AI for their rules. It's available in the PGA app that was also on CNBC yesterday because the Open is
Uh-huh.
this weekend. And like, they were like, what if it says it wrong? Like, he said, if somebody has this situation where the ball landed in the what
Rough or something.
in the
Yeah.
rough or something, it's been asked thousands of times on
Yes.
that course, on
Hmm.
that course. Now
Yeah.
that's a good application, right? So you're gonna
Hmm.
go play Pebble Beach. You want to know what the rule is because your ball's on the sand.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, down on the cliff. I saw that last year. I was like, Wouldn't that be out of bounds? Like I'm thinking baseball, right? No,
Right?
he had to go hit it. It went back up the cliff and went, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
like you have these stories, but you have what makes you you. And what
Hmm.
makes you you is brilliant, attractive, personable. I've always recommend to people, find something about yourself that you are willing to show the world. Just something. Maybe it's your cat. Maybe you like dog rescues.
Yeah.
Maybe you love horseback riding. Maybe you wish you could always live on a ranch. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter, whatever it is, food, being a foodie, traveling to Paris, Belgium, Rome, Barcelona, whatever it is, make that one thing available to the public, and you will attract people who are like you. They will trust you because they know you. They know enough about you to go, you know what? I need a financial advisor. She's like me, and I think she'll have my back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what I look for. Yeah. I look for that in a dentist for some reason.
I know, for real. Like, are you going to drown me? What do you think about waterboarding?
Right? That's so
Did you spend
true.
any time in Gitmo or
Right. You got to read your background.
you're like, who's gonna take this water out?
It's so simple. Like, did you wash your hands before you? Did you wash your hands?
I saw
Or
you touch your eyes with those gloves. You're gonna change them
yeah,
now, right?
exactly. Especially when you see people in the bathroom and they come out and go
Mm-mm,
straight and not. Anyway,
mm-mm.
that's a whole nother story.
It's about compliance. It's
It's
about
about
compliance. Every industry
exactly.
has guidelines. And we
Yeah.
joke about it because it's relatable. The thing
Yes.
is, with financial services, we get scared because we don't know about it. It's math. Math scares us.
Right. Right.
And our future scares us. So we need
Does.
somebody who is calm, trusting, somebody we can trust, somebody who we can believe in, who truly will have our best interests in mind.
Hmm.
That's just having a fiduciary duty.
Yes.
Fancy words for I got you. Don't worry about this.
Yes. So true. Oh my gosh, Bridget, that is so amazing. And I'm so happy you had the time to sit down with me and talk. I'm sure everyone's going to find this information valuable, and it's so relatable and so important at this time of the AI tools and services that we think will replace us, but really are there as a service for us. So I
Yeah.
think this is incredible. I think this is a very valuable message. And I just want to thank you again for talking with me today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right.